First, we will need our labeled cassette containing our paraffin-embedded sample, which has been chilled and hydrated in 50% ammonium hydroxide solution. Additionally, we will mark the top side of the cassette when inserted in the clamp, so we are able to consistently maintain the correct orientation of the block if the cassette has to be removed. With the rotary wheel locked, pulling the tab on the universal cassette clamp, we can insert our cassette. Next, if necessary, we can score a paraffin block using a scalpel or razor blade to remove excess wax from around the sample. Releasing the blade clamp, we can insert a microtome blade and then securely clamp the blade into place. Once the blade is inserted, it is important to flip up the red blade safety guard. After the paraffin block is inserted in the microtome, we have to align it with the blade and expose our sample. First, to prevent accidentally losing data, we use the course adjustment wheel to move the block backwards to give sufficient clearance between the blade and the paraffin block. To align our sample and paraffin block, we will use the fine adjustment knobs to angle the block so it is even and parallel along the entire blade. It is key to use preliminary cuts as a guide to see how you can adjust the cassette clamp to make complete sections that indicate the block is aligned. Once aligned, we need to get through the outer wax to expose our sample. To do this, we can either increase the thickness of our slices using the slice thickness knob, or use the trimming lever as shown here. Now that our block is trimmed, we can begin serial sectioning. First, push in the 12 o'clock lock tab to unlock the rotary wheel, then lower the safety guard to expose the blade. Using tweezers, we will catch the first slice as it is being cut to prevent it from curling on itself. We hold this section above the base to prevent compression and will continue to turn the wheel, creating a ribbon of connected sections. Now, using a tongue depressor cut to a point, we can break off sections at a desired length and place them flat into a water bath using tweezers. When breaking off sections, it's important to keep at least one section attached to the blade, which allow for the next section to attach to the ribbon rather than having to be recut with tweezers. Using our tongue depressor, we can break off the number of sections we desire per slide. Seen here, we will only transfer one section into the water bath. We can continue this process until desired sections are achieved, or paraffin block requires rehydrating or cooling. When completed, we lock the hand wheel by pulling the tab and moving it to the 12 o'clock position. Then, we raise the blade guard to ensure our blade is covered. When the section shows signs of being dehydrated, with shattered or deformed tissue sections, it is time to rehydrate our sample. To do this, we will first lock the rotary wheel, and then flip up the safety guard over the blade. Then, we will get our rehydrating solution, which is 50% ammonium hydroxide, and tear or cut a small square from a chem wipe, roughly the size of the paraffin block. Using tweezers, we will dip the chem wipe into solution and stick the solution onto the paraffin block for 15 to 45 seconds to rehydrate the specimen. After this time, remove the rehydrating wipe and appropriately discard and aspirate any excess solution from the block using a clean new chem wipe. Now your sample should be rehydrated, and you can lower the blade guard and return to generating high-quality sections.
A portable humidifier and cooling unit can be used to establish and maintain optimal room conditions for sectioning. After sterilization of all equipment with RNase and 70% ethanol, fill the humidifier with DI or DNA-free water. Set the device to its lowest setting to avoid generating air drafts that can disturb delicate sections, and position it to direct cool, humid air across the face of the sample and base plate as shown in the video. To prevent internal damage to the microtome, plastic tubing can be attached to collect any condensation or leaks, channeling them into a waste container. This setup provides continuous, gradual rehydration of the paraffin block, reducing the need for direct manual intervention. Using this approach, we were able to produce numerous high-quality sections without needing to stop.
After sectioning, these samples are transferred to a water bath set to 42 degrees Celsius, which causes tissues and paraffin to relax, flattening and removing wrinkles of the single and double sections. To mount these sections, we will use a toothpick, which doesn't stick to paraffin like metal instruments do, and a charged or adhesive frosted slide. Using a toothpick, we can move the sections into the desired orientation and position them on the frosted side of the histology slide, which we can label later with pencil. If a ribbon of sections is too long, using angled forceps, we can split ribbons by bouncing while releasing the forceps on the suture connecting the two sections. This can be seen demonstrated where we split two sections into one.